I'll say this. So one of my best clients, I go face to face with a lot of them. So sometimes they give me, obviously, what's the first thing you want to do when someone gives you a lot of something? You want to give them a similar thing back, right? So if someone helps you make money, you want to give the money back. If someone, brings a lot of value into your life, first thing you want to do is you have the intuition to give someone value back. So whenever I get like a recommendation of something, I take it I take it very well. I'm like, I actually go in and I'm like, this is coming from the heart. I'm going to go into what he sent me. So one of my best clients went ahead and he never sent me, this was the first recommendation he sent me after 3 months. And it was like some very, very, you could say, niche type of work. It was like, have you ever heard of this, that? And I didn't hear. Basically, it was these like CDs, right? So this was like 10, 20 years ago that this guy made, which basically he was like an insider into, you could say, some of these very high class, you could say, brotherhoods. Let's say the royal families, in the billionaires, the billionaire families, like the Rothschilds, all this type of stuff. He was connected with those people. And what he learned is that, yes, although the dad was teaching the son stuff, they actually hired people that went ahead and basically like explained the way things work to their kids. So all this stuff about frequencies, about how the universe works, all this stuff. They had like their kids had like their own schooling in that sense, and they also were taught law of attraction, all that. But that it's also kind of mind blowing that the people like that they were making sure that their kids were learning that. Okay, so essentially, he mastered it so much that he had these people actually hiring him to do it for their kids and for their future generations because he was doing it better than their actual family members, the people that were actually there. Look, a lot of us, we think we should make our goals and we should think about and we should move in the direction of is everything we want. But the issue is a lot of us and when we try to think of something, we actually create more friction towards that thing. So there's the positive ones like, I'm going to get this, yes. And then there's the negative ones where it's just like, oh, wait, but, I don't have it, and that. And that's actually worse than not doing it at all, right? So what he said is you have to get a perfect sweet spot, right? So this was the exercise where you basically got the perfect sweet spot. And you can do this to rearrange a lot of your goals. You can do this it will give you everything you need kind of in the next couple of months and then push everything until when you're ready. Right, so let's say on a sheet of paper, maybe you guys can do a couple right now, and then you could, think about a couple more later. But for everybody watching the recording, all right, go ahead and just, in your journal, write down. So these are for two things, right? Don't just write down the goals you want, but we're looking for two categories right now. The desire, because the desire is going to be what you basically what makes you think about it the most, right? You want to have a goal that you're going to think about the most. You don't want to have a goal which is like you want once and then you make it one of your goals, but then you don't really give a fuck about it, and then you're not motivated enough to do it, right? So desire and belief of how much you'll get in the next 6 months, right? So this is not like next 10 years goals, just the next 6 months, right? So just go ahead and write 10 or 5 random goals, right? Just for the sake of both you guys that are live, just go ahead and just write 3 right now. And for each of those, put a number 1 through 10 on your desire and on your belief, right? So let's say, to make $1 million in the next 6 months. All right, so desire 10, maybe, right? And then belief, let's say, this is just obviously we all want to say, yes, I 100% believe it, right? But this is just for the sake of your benefit. Like, be clear for a second. Like, how much do you actually believe? And it's good because if you don't believe it as much as you should, you can realize that, oh shit, I should work on how can I believe this more, right? So 1 through 10, what would that be? Okay, and these are your normal 6 goals, like normal goals for the next 6 months. Don't just write random things. Like, what would you actually want to do in the next 6 months? Like, what are you actually planning to do? Oh, I was planning to do this, and honestly, I know I'm going to get it. Even if it's a 10 out of 10, write it. Even if you know you're going to get it, write it. That's what this talks a lot about, is having those goals, which not really low-hanging fruit, but right, let's say a basketball player, he's trying to get in the flow of the game. What is he going to do? He's going to go to the rim. He's going to fucking get some layups. right? Then he can start getting the threes in and it'll be light, right? So get some of the layups in, right? Get in the, get some of those goals, realize, okay, I'm hitting those goals, etc. Right? Don't go 0 for 10, right? So get some of those where you're like, straight up, I had the 10 out of 10 desire and I know I'm going to get it. And then you think about that. Think about now that you know that you made that clarity in your mind, you're going to automatically, now that you know that's one of your goals, you're going to be so hyped to actually like to do it. Like when you wake up, you're going to be like, hold up, this is one of my favorite goals and I'm about to get it. And I know I'm going to get it. Like it's going to stay in your mind all the time, right? So write a couple of those, and also maybe the ones that are like on the 8 of desire, and maybe on the 8 that you believe in, etc. Right? So what you want to do is, if they're all super high, then great, keep them all, right? But if you realize that there's a couple that you were already thinking of, that you were thinking of, these are my goals in the next 6 months, but basically they were like not really a 9 or a 10 in the belief. Let's say they're an 8 or a 7, or there's anything which is not fully aligned there yet. Still keep that as a goal, but maybe rethink on it, let's say in a month, or rethink on it in like 2 months, right? Keep moving forward in other areas. And once you feel like your belief is a 9 or a 10, then you can add that to your, then you can add that to your visualization. Then you can add that to your goal list. Then you can really be like, I'm going to get it, right? And without creating friction, without actually losing your confidence, right? And then that transition being to the next thing, right? Then what you can do is you can make one of these. But you get the gist. So all of these are at least 9s for me. Like I already know I'm gonna get it, and I'm not putting, like, for the next 3 years, like I'm not putting just yet. Like I'm not putting like a mansion yet, because I know I don't even want to buy a house until at least 5-10 years from now, right? Mm-hmm. So put things like that, and that's the thing. One of the main kind of aspects in these CDs and everything, I wanted to give the law of the universe type of stuff that nobody else was giving. So everybody was saying, yes, think on this, believe this. But he was kind of trying to go in one more step further and be like, wait, this is like, this works. Like, obviously this is a law of the universe. It works, but it doesn't work for everybody. Here's why. Here's the mistakes that the people that it didn't work for was doing. And then you come to things like this, which is actually push back the 8 until it's a 9 into a month later. And then that will completely like make it flow more perfectly and all this stuff, right? It's true. Sometimes you don't want to go inside your head. Sometimes you stop thinking about your goals, because every time you think about it, you actually, is this true or not? Dude, sometimes when you think about your goals, it's just like, sometimes it's like, it's like, no. And then you get more in a bad state. You're like, wait, but I do have the confidence. Like, first, think about those ones you're super confident in. And then, because when it really works, it's when you have that 100%, you think about it and you just like smile and you're like, bro, I know I'm going to get it. I know I'm going to get it, etc. Right. So then for you guys, when making this type of visual thing, this is going to allow you to focus on it more. And this is going to allow you to also build your identity. I always talk about identity building. This is why I also put pictures of me dressed how I would want to dress when I have a driver taking me in the Maybach. Without even realizing, I'm not, over time, my mind's going to pair those two together. Kind of vision board. And here's the thing. I did my first thing like this on my phone. I did it like 8 months ago. And then after 3 months, I took it off. And I was riding with a white screen for a little bit. And then I just did a new one again. So if you want to always have it, that's fine. But sometimes you got to actually let it kind of marinate, right? Sometimes you don't always have to be looking for it. So now that I'm thinking back on it, and I was going to maybe stop it for a little bit longer until I thought back on what I had. So I had me basically riding in some nice cars, me in some nice hotels, me traveling, etc. And then after, obviously, I had some like lifestyle stuff. And over the past 3 or 4 months, like the way I've been traveling, the way I've been moving, I mean, for you guys that have seen, like, sometimes it wasn't always part of the plan. Like sometimes I was like, I'm not gonna do this, dude. I'm not gonna do that. But I always ended up in situations where I was living that. Like I always ended up in situations where I was living that. Like, I'm gonna get the cheaper hotel, no. Oh wait, but there's like a crazy deal where actually, you know what? Like I would only spend as much with my points and all this stuff to go get this 5-star hotel. And then actually was like brought to me to live the thing I kind of designed for myself, like automatically. It wasn't just I chose. You get what I'm saying? So that's when I realized, I was like, okay, that actually kind of worked. I'm not gonna lie. I know it, even if I didn't realize it, I know it still worked in here and I was gonna see it later. But it also made me realize, I was like, oh shit, I gotta do another one. And this is not something I made up. Obviously, you guys know vision boards is good. I saw at a seminar a recording of one of the top guys at the seminar showing his vision board, on and on. And then that's what got me excited to do it. So, yeah, basically, all you guys watching here, do those 2 exercises. The second one can be followed up by the first one. But the first one definitely is going to make you kind of think back on some things, and definitely going to make probably half of you guys. Hopefully, that at least got you a whole lot of clarity. Because then you're like, I got to write 10 goals. What do I write? After 3, you got to actually start thinking about it. So, what do people? I'm gonna leave you with this. What does everybody say? You know, if you don't know what you want, how can you expect to get it? You know, you don't go to a restaurant and be like, give me some. You know, then you might get something, you might not want it. You might go, oh wait, actually, I don't really like that. You got to order what you want, right? And so essentially, become clear on those things, and you'll realize that you're going to end up having it some way, shape, or form if you do everything else around it to your life. All right. So I appreciate you guys for doing it live. Appreciate you guys for letting me know how it goes. And yeah, you guys.